Bemanachi. Be my manachi answer. George Bachi.
I'm a Joseph speaker.
Now, a promote to say.
About the other room.
Is actually
but yeah, then it can be you keep in touch, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Be Bravo Mommy, not been too.
Just because I'm in chairman, you say, oh, I'm now be co-positioner. Tembia,
I judge you by one cow.
I see that endorphins, smash, I say, happen woman. Oh, yes, happening. And they are going to opposition. Means I'm sure could be a tabum. Nyam could be a machine bambata, but 99% of me come a tabum. Nothing can save the MPP from going to opposition. The only option they have is to fight to reduce the percentage of loss. But sepa say, or mubetna by mudie, hensi. A day bit my boo or money say, percentage at be defeat your mono. They are now fighting to reduce it. But to Ghana Star Car Service. Mamin commended the government statistician on professional grounds. We have seen a lot of government statisticians in the past. In my candid view on assessment, this particular government statistician has been very, very public and frontal. So, Speaker, from the professional perspective, you need data for two reasons: policy formulation and implementation, and public awareness. Nti abribia government did data beba abonteno. The important is to achieve two broader perspective. How do I use data to formulate a policy, implement a policy, and monitor the policy and review the policy? That is on one brief. Now, other aspect of data, so says I bind the data about abonteno. No, so how do I get the public fully educated and informed? And to say at the end of this discourse here, it will achieve two thematic perspectives. Abani policy or person de bonten. In discussion with Abani nipa, the government will tune into program like this and review or modify the policy crano. Secondly, Timemu fono so e wo fie etie radio TV no. Ebe hu say say inflation they say net here, so they get educated and aware, and the government also inform its policies.
And the more expenditure as well.
Precisely. Now, say inflation be about bontia. Inflation is a form of tax against the poor. Let me repeat on the show. In the typical financial economic perspective, inflation is an indirect tax against the poor. Because inflation not punish any before. But to the rich and the business community, inflation becomes a tool to be richer. So maybe a business owner, na me kokra di fra manone. Na sa de ne bo kosra. Na say me a producer, na say manufacturer. What do? I transfer the final cost to the final consumer. And the businessman no only a capitalist no only enterprises inflation may not be tasteful to him, but indirectly na boano, because the final net effect and say obe transfer the cost of that production to the final consumer. Mr. Speaker, 10 beer inflation be ba bonte no. Ade minu na wo say man hwe. Look at the food and the non-food. The food aspect here, everybody eats. There's a certain mantra. Obi adidi. Now, atade a shewe no, ubetuma she no 3 years. Would not necessarily say tough for. But u breakfast or lunch or supper or dessert, and as or wine be no. You can't eat the same food you eat today tomorrow. Eti aban bia na wo food inflation. A word higher variation compared to non-food, you have a problem. So share disaggregation of the data no. Food inflation to the 51.8%. Non-food 34.6%. So analyzing this data to the ordinary person, they're trying to say, what did you every day higher? But non-food nature say car or tenemu or furniture or fee or fittings or fee. Pabwa ocean a non-food matter day we make machine 3 years and he say at any mahama chair George the person mean can no any mahama chair one jam chair jam chair we make machine 2 years and he say me koto jam chair we na se ne bo kwa cost over 34.6%. It will only affect me within 36 months. But aduane me di de It's every day. And then they feed into the point that the government has failed on the alliance slogan of planting for food and job. So, Speaker, yembre won some parfum. So ni mon parfum. Obi also kwa bani wo. Oh kwa some parfum. What are you seeking to achieve? Abaya was me ba abayamuno. Me de mofa Ministry Food and Agriculture no. Me rebrand the whole sector. Now my planting for food and job, rearing for food and export, planting for food and cash and whatever. Oh we are no sanko cocoa board. What you say? Policies are NDC about Kemudigu and was scrap on off. And now ye kasa say Tanahana ye kasa. Not to my brother AEC.
Kessben.
So government food inflation stands at 51.8%. Non-food at 34.6%. It means start actually no. Our policy on food production is a failed one. Number 2. So and the variance between food and non-food is 17%. And that is huge in terms of nominal terms and so figure 51, 34, 17% different. That is too huge. Mr. Speaker, the next one here. People purchasing power parity. PPP. When you papa question dumpet no. Inflation be about bontina. Adie mienu ani pa hunu ne se o purchasing power parity chere o don sa show bottom ade enso ne kosie de wo mu no. And na ye kasa yi no. 42% inflation chere se o sika na da wo ho last year no eso hwan by 42% a wo nye boni bia. And to people's purchasing power parity relative to the year 2022 has gone down negatively by 42%. Third point, locally produced items inflation and imported inflation. The Speaker said, oh, my na locally produced items inflation figure no, better than imported inflation. The government industrialization policy is a failed one.
The industrialization
policy is a failed one. Mamin chemuna tie for na pefo ntia. Ya kasa locally produced items inflation. A trend niema Ghana fo ankasa de omadwen omunim die aye wo ha. Enti bia makọ kantamanto. Obi a Ghana ni mpaboa makotobi. Obi a caveman makotobi. Wata de shewi wo smoky Ghana ni na ye makotobi. If sa wo hwe figure Ghana Statistical Service dia bana eno no stand at 36.2%. Just a Ghana for near my year produce Nebua Cosro no year on year 36. Imported inflation of 43.8%. Okay, no, the implication in it say and near my year crabba minimum bomb and so be a gun in a son as sene. Na otmiye a confi food juice, otmiya commended sugar factory. Commended sugar factory ne buono. Quae a cost room, no mum a cost by 36%. No mum see ya na ye cran near man bar. A one cost by 43.8%. That should tell my brother yes. When I was a catcher, my brother said they need to do a critical policy review because I buy we know or my front loading. I catch a front loading and you're my palm better more penny in our quetry and no more pure money. My bonny about my name. And it's slogan quania tete. One day say one factory, one village, one dam. But the consequential net effect and then say. And now ye kaseno say a Ghana ni amana produce near ma bone cost 36.2%. No more say I'm Ghana ni na ye crane money from on the bar a 43 point ebi man no see no ye nananom say obuo ni Paul Ben wa abosia bom kwachi.
Very well, thank you very much.
Ghana banks na banks ni ye net mi ma abosia pay ya local people can produce cheaper and sell cheaper.
But as a BOT